Hey everyone, welcome back. It's Melanie, your She Shed Scrapper. So today I am back with the brand new collection, the Teen Vibe Carson collection from Bella Blvd. I just could not wait to get my hands on this collection. I thought it was absolutely perfect for my boys, even though they aren't quite teens yet. A lot of the different icons I can work with now. So I cut my paper down. It looks like an inch on all sides. And then I'm going to be using a bunch of pattern papers and cutting them into strips so then I can dovetail the ends of them and kind of use that as my base for the layout. I have a couple of more subtle patterns and then a couple of busier patterns, and my plan is to keep them separated with, alternate, I guess, the busy from the kind of less busy. I have this one photo of my son with the new sunglasses. He got these for his birthday and tried them on, and when I saw this collection and saw the sunglasses in the collection, I knew that I needed it. And so it was just absolutely perfect. So because I have a bunch of pattern papers, I did want to double map my photo and really kind of make it, I guess the second map, make it bold. So I used black. That is kind of a navy, but there are some black pieces in the pattern papers. So that is why I kind of chose black, and really that is pretty much the boldest you could get, I guess. So I had my, my papers kind of lined up, but I really wanted to make sure that where I was going to embellish around my photo was kind of more on the plain side. And so I did kind of have to mix and match a little bit just so that when I embellished, it would stick out more. So you can see that I'm kind of playing around so that, again, maybe the more, the less busy patterns are kind of surrounding my photo, if that makes sense. There are just so many great icons. I love that cluster. I really wanted to make sure that I used as many of those sunglasses as I could, and that cluster that I'm going to end up using. One, I love that it's kind of already done for me. I don't really have to add much to it at all. But two, it just has so many great, I'll call them icons, for a boy. Not necessarily teen, so to speak, but for a boy. The shoes, the fries, the sunglasses, the hat. You can kind of see I did separate the ephemera pack before I started the layout. So on the right hand side, there's a bunch of pieces that I thought maybe that I would be using. So now I did want to kind of, again, make this a little bit more bold. And so I did mat the actual layout in black before I put it on the final border paper, which is that gray and black diagonal striped paper. And I knew that final matted paper here would get a lot of use out of it. So I am gutting the middle of it a little bit smaller than I usually do. So maybe that white paper is smaller than I usually do. Because usually I will just use leave an inch border around. So I'm thinking maybe I cut my white paper to 10. And then initially I thought, you know what, I'll just keep it straight across. But then when I got down to it, I decided to kind of angle that middle paper. I had left enough kind of, I guess, border around it that I could kind of angle the middle, and I just thought it kind of gave it another kind of cool aspect instead of just kind of being straight across. So now that I have this all done, I have to figure out how to embellish. Again, that one embellishment is already done for me, so that really made it easy. And I am popping my photo up on foam tape to give this layout a little bit of dimension. So with having so many pattern papers, the thing I struggled the most on was my title. In On the doohickey sheet, I think that's what they call it for Bella Boulevard, there were some alphas, and I thought that I would use those and just have my title so cool, and just use the alphas from that. However, you can see that I didn't have very many maybe color options, not enough color options, and it kind of just blends in too much for my liking. So we will come back to that after I kind of finish up, but I really just had to kind of figure out what I wanted my title to be. There are great options on the chipboard sheet as well. But I really just kind of had to narrow down what I wanted to use and what I thought would show up the best. So you can see that I have that, and now is when I'm going to struggle with the rest of it. So I did bring out some of the flares from Scrap and Happy Studio, and there was that Hey Bro one that really fit in nicely because that cluster is popped up on foam tape. So I was able to kind of sneak that epoxy flare underneath that cluster. I have found that I am struggling more to use the canvas flares from Scrap and Happy Studio because they are so much thicker. The foam tape I have isn't even thick enough really to pop something else up on foam tape, or pop that up to allow that canvas flare to kind of tuck underneath. So I am struggling a little bit more using the canvas flares. So I loved that little circular element that said looking good with the sunglasses. And so I did end up using that. Added a skateboard just because. And then there were some groups or a cluster of stars. So I did decide to kind of finish off that cluster at the top with that star element. And then here I add the sunglasses to the title, thinking that that would be enough for the title. I try to move it up. I don't know. I just did not love that so cool title. It just blended in too much for my liking. So playing around with it, even now, just kind of staggering it, I guess you could say, just didn't love it. So instead, I put the alphas back on the sheet, and then get into the chipboard sheet, and there's this black and white legit, and so I decided to try and use that. Again, super busy. I wish it was maybe a different color or pattern, but it is what it is, and that is what I kind of had to use. I have since actually bought more of this collection. I think I just had bought the Icon ephemera pack, and I did another layout using this off camera, this collection, and realized the other ephemera pack has all of the titles and a lot of really good titles. So that is now in my stash. I did get it from a cherry on top, and I got it in 2 days. Mind you, I live about, I'd say 2.5 hours, 3 hours from the actual store. So I do have that advantage of being closer. But I got the shipping notification within like an hour and a half. So I don't know, just one of the many reasons I love a cherry on top. So that is going to, I guess, finish it off. I did add that scallop border, and then off camera, I forgot to add those glasses back to the title. And then I also kind of snuck in some epoxy stars from the collection as well. I think just maybe one in each cluster. But I will have this collection linked down below because I am absolutely in love with it. And if you have girls, they have a teen vibe. Oh, I can't think of the name now. Caitlin, I think. So definitely look at that if you have any girls, because that is a great option for you as well. But I hope you guys enjoyed this layout, and we will see you next time. Bye, guys.